Hi guys, and welcome to our next video. This video is going to be an extension of the previous one, which we were installing beebox. We installed beebox and we have the beebox up and running right here in my VMware workstation, having an IP address of 1.102. So this is basically a machine that is quite vulnerable, and there is a vulnerable applications on the machine. So now we're going to step into the whole procedure of hacking, and we're gonna apply the knowledge from the previous videos. So I hope you really enjoy the video, and if you have something on your mind, feel free to post in the comments below. So now we are using Kali Linux as our attacking machine. We are using the beebox as our victim machine or target. The beebox is basically Linux based, and it's running Ubuntu based operational system. So we are going to search for exploits about the machine, but now let's say that we don't know nothing about our target, and we are going to start everything from the bottom. So you have to see all the procedures, all the things we can actually manage to do, and so on. So here let's first open a terminal and start by scanning our network. So here I just type net discover, and let's see what output can we get, what IPs are there, and what can we do with that kind of IPs. So I think the discover is over and we cannot find any more IPs. Okay, now it's actually time to do some scanning about the targets. We need to know what are there in that network and what can we attack. And for example, let's go over Nmap, specify 192.168.1.0 and the whole subnet, which is /24. By specifying 24, we are specifying the whole subnet range. So when scanning, we're gonna scan the whole subnet range. So the good practice is just now to give a quick Nmap scan to see all the available hosts, what they have and what they actually are running, and afterwards we can actually go for choosing a target and therefore go for specify Nmap scan. So click enter, and now the Nmap is gonna send a probe package to all the available hosts right there, and it's gonna give us with the results with a bunch of information, just a basic information about the services right there. So we do not have to actually wait a lot because we just run a simple Nmap scan. As we can see, the Nmap just printed out the port, the state and the service without any further information. So here we have our gateway, and we know that this is the gateway because if we open a new terminal and specify route-n, we see that the gateway, the IP of the gateway is the same as that we found. So this is our gateway. So we can now create a better structure of our network. We can better know how does it contains, what does it contains, and how does it structured. So we now know that we have the gateway here running port 80, port UPnP, port 1900, and two more unknown ports. Now we have a machine with an IP address of 1.1, and most likely this machine is working as a client, and it has some service that is running that port. So maybe there's a game or some service that requires that port to be opened. So we're gonna skip that for now. We have our beebox machine, which here seems quite vulnerable. Okay, therefore we have two more clients machines. So we have one client with IP 150 and 202. So therefore we have two clients, and we have like one more machine that is running all of services. We have SH unit, HTTP unit, we have net bias. Okay, great. And therefore we have one more machine with IP 1.10. So we're running HTTP and some unknown ports. Okay, so now this is the basic Nmap scan, and here we need to actually specify what target we go for and what attack vector we can go for. Since our machine beebox is there and it's quite vulnerable, you see that we have a lot of services here. we're gonna go for that machine and we're gonna show how it can be exploited. But in real environment, as we actually made ourselves that machine, in real environment that machine is going to be something like a honeypot, because you see we have a lot of services open. We have first service like MySQL open, we have service like VNC open, we have multiple services that are just open, not filtered. So that means the machine is quite vulnerable, and therefore we can go and exploit that services. And in an enterprise environment, this machine is most likely going to be some kind of a honeypot, because it's just way too vulnerable to be true. And in our case, it's just a fake machine as well. So whenever you see something like that, it's most likely a fake machine, a honeypot, a virtual machine that's supposed to be attacked. So do not go for it. But now we do that video for educational purpose. There are vulnerable services out there, and we're gonna see how to exploit that services right there. And that's the point of the video. But if you're in the enterprise environment, when you're engaging clients and see that machine, you can ask if that machine is actually a honeypot or not, because you as a white hat hacker, if doing penetration test, you have to know what machines you're attacking. So you can ask unless you're doing a black box test, which means that you don't have any information at all. But in that case, if you can go and ask if that machine is actually a honeypot. But in most cases, if you see something like vulnerable and something like that, all reports opened, FTP, SH, SMTP, just all reports opened, there is something quite dangerous and quite strange about that machine. So do not go for it. For example, here, if we are in the enterprise environment, we can go for that machine, or that machine we have the HTTP, so we have some web application running, and on that application we can go and search for ways to actually upload file or get remote code execution. So therefore we can get access to the machine and hack the machine. So if we are in enterprise in real environment, go for the bottom two machines, 203 and 10. So here I'm gonna go for that machines if we are in real environment, but now for educational purpose, go for that one. So you know it's fake, you know it's vulnerable, you know it's like that vulnerable, and we know that it's attacked. So we know it's a machine that's supposed to be attacked. And now, since we now specify the target for our testing environment, so now the target is basically that one, the BUP one, so 102. And now we need to specify and focus only on that target. We isolate that target from the other hosts, and we're gonna focus and attack only that machine. So go here, copy the IP address, and now let's go and type Nmap again. So Nmap 192.168.1.102. Okay, so now here we have to actually define all the versions if possible. We have defined the operational system, of course. In the other versions, we have to define the default scripts. We can use the default scripts, and therefore it's a good practice to actually output the file into a directory. So go to root directory. This means root directory. So my home directory, that means my home directory, because I'm root. But if you're a user like Tom, this is gonna be Tom's directory. So here we specify desktop. Okay, and now go for nmap and some extension like txt. Now, as you can see, our nmap.txt file appeared right on our desktop, and now the nmap started to scan the host for every single service. We see the network monitor here is going wild, the sending packet. So here we have a graph of actually usage of the network. You see that the Nmap now is working and it's sending a lot of packets, and we basically gonna wait for a receiving of that packets in order to see what information can we get from there. Now we are doing active information gathering, and keep in mind that every action you do now can be detected, is logged, and can trigger some kind of a firewall IDS IPS. So better go and watch our Nmap evasion techniques and implement them here. So especially if you are in enterprise environment, do that techniques here, so you can actually bypass some kind of tools and be more stealth. because, for example, we are doing the Nmap scan with our real IP address, but we need to spoof our IP address, we need to spoof our MAC address, so the packet probes are coming from different way, and we are actually safe and undetected. But now we are doing that only for educational purpose, for demonstrational purpose, and that's why we skip that things. So now we're gonna actually learn a lot of information about that services. The Nmap is gonna send a probe packet to all single one of the service, and the Nmap is gonna try to get all the information possible from all the services possible. So that's why it's taking a while, because as we saw, there are like 10-20 open services, like more than 10, and Nmap need to send and receive packets to all single one of them, and enumeration of every single service can be like quite painful and quite slow. So therefore all the single service combines are slow in the Nmap, but we are not here to hurry. We are here to get the result and see what output can we get. So we have no choice but to wait for that services to actually scan and to wait for the packets to come back to us. But what Nmap is doing now is just, you need to know that the fundamental things, you need to know that now Nmap is just sending packets to all the different services, to all the open services, trying to get the binary versions, trying to get the versions of the services, trying to enumerate everything possible. For example, when we go to the FTP service, Nmap is trying to see if it can connect anonymously, if the FTP server allows anonymous connection. So that's why it's taking a lot of times. This is doing some probes with the SSH service, and with every single one of them you see the network monitor goes out again. So now we have only to wait, and Nmap is almost done. We see 99%. You can check the percentage with using the tab key or with the up arrow. So with the tab again is the same thing, or with the up arrow. Yeah, so see the network monitor is going out again, so the Nmap is now actually trying to receive all its probes, and we're gonna get prompted with information about the scan. So using the options like SV for versions or SC for default scripts can give us quite a bunch of useful information. And now you're going to actually see what output can we get from using that versions and that option, sorry, and we can compare the output of the options and without the options to see how much more information can we get just by actually specifying two options and waiting a little longer. So now the Nmap is about to finish, and let's see, 99%, 0.83. Okay, now we have a little more to go. So I want to keep note again that if you see something like that in a production environment or in an environment in the business, in the enterprise, in professional environment, if you see something like that, it most likely be a honeypot or some fake machines. The chances this machine is gonna be real and that vulnerable is pretty low, so you don't have to trust that. For example, this can be your last resort, but if you are into some kind of a similar network like that and see that one of machines is that vulnerable, better go for the next one. And if nothing works, just nothing works, then you can come and go to that one, because honeypots can maybe be a vulnerability, because when you compromise and hack into a honeypot, therefore you can find a way to build your way through the other's machine through the honeypot. Like you can use the honeypot for proxy. So this machine is not bad that it stays there, but better go for the next one. For example, I can go for the 2.203 and 2010. We see some HTTP services, and we can try to exploit that services or see what's up there and running to furthermore build our way to the targets. And if nothing ever succeeded, just literally nothing, I can then try to hack into a honeypot or that vulnerable machine. And if the machine is actually real, great for you, amazing. But if it's honeypot, if you hack it, you have still a chance to actually hack your way to the other systems. you can use honeypot for a proxy, but the bad thing is that they're gonna know what you did actually. Because as we saw in the honeypot video, all the actions are triggered and are locked by the administrators, and so no matter what you do, you're gonna actually get triggered and get your action is gonna be revealed. So they're gonna secure the machines, and it's just making the process more complicated. But keep that in last resort, and if nothing literally works on other machines, then go for that one. But this is the most likely the vulnerable honeypot. So now the Nmap scan is complete, and now it's time to analyze what we get. Okay guys, so here the first service that Nmap reported to us, and we see we have a huge report, is the FTP one. So let's go and analyze what we have. So here we have the FTP one, Pro FTPD, and the version. So the first thing that comes upon our mind is to use search exploit or search engines or Metasploit to see if we have exploits for that version. So for example, search exploit and go for Pro FTPD. Okay, we have some versions right here, and we have the versions 1.3 and we have 1.35. So we have some exploits for that version, and furthermore we can go and try to exploit that. There is even a Metasploit module for some of them, Metasploit here, Metasploit here. So we can go and try use that exploit in order to get it to the machine. But now we are focused on the web server, so let's continue. Now we have the FTP unknown, so anonymous FTP login allowed. So Nmap knows and actually try to log in anonymously, and it says that the anonymous login is enabled on that server. So we have the FTP code 230, which means the anonymous FTP is allowed. This is how the Nmap scanned and revealed us that the FTP anonymous login is allowed. And we have the basic directories of the FTP anonymous login. So when you actually log in there, you're gonna see that files, some PDFs, and some info. So I think, yeah, this is going to be the output of the directory when we log in. So let's move on to the next service, which is Secure Shell or SH, running on port 22. So we have the OpenSH and a version. We can go and scan for exploits again. So go for search exploit and OpenSH. Now here we have version 4.7, and we're looking for everything that is under 4.7. So I mean, this is not vulnerable, this is not vulnerable, but this is definitely vulnerable. So we have local privilege escalation, we have denial of service, we have command execution, we have pretty decent exploits there, we have user enumeration, great, and therefore we have vulnerable SH service, which is great. Now we have the SMTP one. We can go and repeat the same procedure for all the available services out there. Now we have the HTTP, but we're gonna skip that for a second. I want to explain the different services, and therefore we can go and analyze the HTTP one. So we have the NetBIOS, we have OpenSL. We can do the same thing for the other services. We have some unknown services here, for example, Login Shell and Doom. In the previous video we used Netcat to actually extract some information from them, so we don't need to repeat the process. But for the Doom one, we have some fingerprints here. We have build up movie service, so we have a movie application, some kind of a movie application here. Therefore we have the MySQL, we have the MySQL, old version of MySQL. We can go and try to actually use some exploits and go through the MySQL server. And if the MySQL server and the port is open, that means it is actually vulnerable to broken authentication or DDoSing, which in our case is not okay. We don't want to break nothing here or to shut down nothing. Then we have the VNC, which is actually used for remote control, graphical remote control, and there are all of exploits for VNC as well. For example, when we go search exploit and VNC, we have some pretty decent exploits as well, and just compare the version of the exploit, and just run the exploit, see if it works, and continue. If it works, great. If it not, search for another one. So here we have X1, X11, sorry, and another HTTP one. We have HTTP proxy. we have some SSL, that HTTPS proxy, that means HTTP the SSL one, and therefore we have another HTTP server which is very important, 9080, and the service is called white white TPD and 1.4 version. Okay, so here we have some header files, we have some title files, we have pretty decent information about the service as well. Therefore we have the MAC address running Linux, so we have it's a Linux operational machine. So we're gonna shoot and fire payloads and exploit depending on that Linux, because if we enumerated that is Windows, we're gonna need to shoot and try to exploit with Windows exploits. But now, since we are knowing it's a Linux, we're gonna go for the Unix one exploits for the Linux exploit, so we get even more information. Okay, now we have the host script, we have the NetBIOS name, which is beebox. Okay, therefore the beebox. Okay, so this is what we've actually enumerated. So here for now we've enumerated 3 HTTP services, and now we're gonna go in the next video to browse from every single one of them to see what information can we get and to see how can we exploit that service. But for today's video, keep in mind that you need to know how to enumerate properly with Nmap. You see, in the previous video we used NCAT to see the basic information of the services. Now we get detailed information about every single one of them. You need to know how to enumerate, and of course the biggest point I want to make in this video is that when you see a machine that vulnerable, don't go for it. For example, if you see the machine with the simple Nmap scan looking like that, and therefore you Nmap the whole machine, the whole service is there, then you see the Nmap scan like that, where every possible service is vulnerable, then do not go for that machine. It's most likely a honeypot, or it's some fake machine, some fake virtual machine, some sandbox that is gonna keep you trapped. So for example, here when we try shooting exploits and compromise that machine and go inside, we're gonna see nothing. But the opposite side is gonna be seeing everything we are doing, and is gonna actually secure their real machines. So in the enterprise environment, if you see something like that, please do not go for it. But now, since we want to show how the exploit works and how hacking is made, and for simpler understanding, we're gonna go for that machine. So in the next video, we're gonna analyze all the HTTP services. We can see what can we do about them and how can we hack them. So I really appreciate you guys for watching. I hope this video was interesting, and stay tuned for the next one.